What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I will be making my case why I prefer low dose cycles over high dose cycles. In order to fully get it, you will have to watch it until the end, so stick around. For those not familiar with the channel yet, before touching PEDs, performance enhancing drugs, I studied them for over 5 years. Recently, I did my first low dose cycle, where I cycled testosterone between 200 and 250 milligrams per week for a period of 10 months. Many people seem to believe that anything under 500 milligrams of testosterone will not give you any considerable gains. And the forums are filled with people that tell you to take 500 milligrams of testosterone, sometimes even with a D-ball kickstart, which in my opinion is not just bro science, it's also old bro science. Time after time again, I had to see people saying 200, 300 milligrams, you won't build any muscle. Life starts at 500 milligrams, just take it and just follow what everyone else is doing. I decided to start with 200 milligrams per week. Why? Because I believe that your first cycle is about discovering your own body. How does your body respond to testosterone? At what levels will you experience side effects? What testosterone levels will you get on a certain testosterone dose? So I started with 200 milligrams per week for the first 2 months. I did this in order to figure out what my levels would be, how I would feel, if I would notice any changes in the gym, and also because I believe that many of the side effects affiliated with anabolic steroids are from the swings in testosterone levels and not per se the total burden up to a certain level. Obviously, when you get to a few grams of anabolic steroids per week, you're going to get side effects no matter what. Now, there are many protocols that you can put into place in order to deal with those side effects, but why would you want to deal with side effects in the first place? So I took 200 milligrams per week for 2 months, and I got testosterone levels that are 2400 nanograms per deciliter total. Then I raised it to 250 milligrams per week, and my total testosterone showed 3300 nanograms per deciliter. This told me that I am a hyper responder to testosterone. However, I did not have any estrogenic side effects, and actually my estrogen was rather low. So I used ACG in order to raise my estrogen level to get a better testosterone to estrogen ratio. Because I believe that you have to keep your levels at a certain balance in order to feel best. So then when I ran 250 milligrams per week, I did blood testing every 2 months. And I noticed that my blood work stayed pretty much perfect on that dose. After a while, I decided to kick it up a little bit more and to see what 400 milligrams would do. The moment I started taking 400 milligrams, the side effects started popping up. The side effects weren't very severe, and they were manageable for me because I had a lot of protocols that I put into place. I really feel like it's very important to figure out in your first cycle what dosages you can run without side effects and what dosages you will need to implement certain protocols and how bad the side effects are going to be for you. This is also why it's very important during your first cycle, in my opinion, to only use one compound. Otherwise, you don't know what the side effects are coming from, which one of the 2 or more compounds you're dosing too high. 2 weeks after increasing my dose, I started using a new box of testosterone. I found out a little bit down the road that this was underdosed, so I didn't really get the full benefit of running 400 milligrams for a longer period of time. However, it did tell me that this is the point where I start to get side effects, and the protocols that I implemented were sufficient in order to combat these side effects. So I basically only got benefits from running 250 milligrams for a longer period of time. During this time, I managed to get to 100.5 kilograms. I was leaner than I was at 94 naturally. So for those that said that running low dose cycles is a total waste of my time, I beg to differ. I would say that 6.5 kilos of gain while being leaner is a great result, especially considering that my blood work stayed pretty much perfect the entire duration of the cycle and I had no side effects. Also, I prefer to listen to people that have been doing safe PED usage for, let's say, a decade, rather than people that run 500 milligrams in their first cycle, instantly get a ton of acne, side effects, hair loss, and whatnot, and that end up having a physique that I don't even find attractive. Many of the guys that have been doing this for over a decade, they all say the same. They wish that they would have started lower because they feel like 500 is simply too much for a first cycle. I know that this statement is not going to make me very popular because really the 500 milligram starter cycle is a very popular belief. However, when I ran 400 for a few weeks, I instantly had side effects. So 500 milligrams would have given me side effects 100% sure. Would I have wanted to run this for 4 to 6 months? Also, you really do not need that much. Since my week 36 update, it's been about a month right now, and I lowered my dose from 250 to 125. I was planning to build it down slower, but then I decided that it would just take longer for me to get to my next cycle again. And even now, on 125, I was able to still keep PRing on my squat. So what I showed in my week 36 update was a 125 kilo times 5 squat. What happened between then and now, I was able to do a 5 times 130 kilo squat and a 140 kilo times 2 squat. I keep PRing. Now, since about a week, I really noticed that I need a deload. But I was able to just keep going, and I basically built my squat by 40 kilo this year. Having ran only 250, but PRing 40 kilo on my squat, I would say that's a perfect result. Right now, I really noticed that my body needs a deload. I usually train in mesocycles of about 3 to 4 months. So I started at about 75 to 80% intensity, and then I build it up. And the last few weeks of that mesocycle, I keep PRing. I keep squeezing out a few more reps here and there. Right now, I'm doing a deload of about 2 weeks, and then after that, I will start a new mesocycle. Soon, I will be making a video about mesocycles, deloading, and reps in reserve. For that, you will have to subscribe to this channel. So as of now, I'm also cutting. So even though I'm cutting and I lowered my dose, I was still able to PR. You really do not need much for your first cycle. I know I keep saying it, and I will keep saying it, because I really believe that 500 milligrams is just way too much for a first cycle. You can start with less and then build it up as you grow. As of now, I'm down about 4.3 kilo from my maximum weight. What I did was I built to 100.5. Then I did maintenance between 98 and 99 for a month for my body to get used to this new weight. And then I started a cut. As of now, I'm sitting at about 96.0 to 96.2. I don't know what it's exactly in pounds. I will slowly be cutting until March. I figure that I will probably be around 90 kilo. I'm going for about 8% body fat. I'm not looking to be bodybuilder lean or anything. Now, for my next cycle, I will not be going over 400 either. What I'm planning for the next cycle is switching to another testosterone brand. Then I start my cycle with 250 for about 2 months. And then I'm planning to run 5 to 6 months of 400 milligrams. Now I know that I will need certain protocols in order to run that. And I know what protocols are going to be sufficient because I experimented with it during this first cycle. During the next year, I'm planning to get to a 180 kilo squat, and I want to bench 140 kilo, 3 plates. So 4 plates for squats. Even for a second cycle, I don't feel like I need 500 milligrams because I grew perfectly on 250 and 400. I feel like it would have been pretty great. So that's what I'm going for the next cycle. And honestly, I don't feel like 500 is necessary anyway. Right now, I'm mainly focused on strength. I'm really enjoying the process of building strength. I used to be purely into my physique from the beginning of my training when I was 18 years old until 2020. Then in 2020, I hired a powerlifting coach to learn the movements and everything, but then the lockdowns happened and whatnot, and then I lost a lot of that strength again. But right now, I'm really enjoying the strength process a lot. So for me, that's the most important thing. And honestly, I think that if you run 400 milligrams, that's enough to get those strength goals. Furthermore, what I now know, and only because I ran a cycle, is that I am a hyper responder to testosterone, but I am a low aromatizer. So initially, I thought that my second cycle, I would probably use primobolan. However, primobolan can indirectly work as an AI, which means that it lowers your estrogen, which is something that I don't need because I've actually been supplementing HCG in order to keep a favorable ratio between testosterone and estrogen. If I would be taking primobolan, my estrogen would become even lower, and perhaps I could run into side effects because of that or have less than optimal energy. So this is something that you also have to figure out for yourself, and you can only do so by running a smart first cycle and doing blood work. Only then can you tell if you respond well to testosterone, if you need 500 in order to get levels to build muscle on, how your estrogen is going to react, when do you get side effects, what kind of protocols are sufficient for you, what kind of additional anabolic steroids are a good match for you. So for me, I did the research and I thought primobolan would be a good option until I actually ran the cycle and I noticed that I'm a low aromatizer. So now that option is basically off the table for me for the upcoming future. During my next cycle, when I'm going to be running 400 milligrams, I know that I have to do a hair protocol, I have to do a prolactin protocol, and I have to do a blood pressure protocol. All of those I covered in other videos on my channel, which I'll link here. And I will be documenting all of my ups and downs as honestly as I possibly can, like I did during the first cycle, so that you can learn from it as much as possible. So keep following me along for this journey, because next time I'm planning to get to 110 kilo during that cycle and to squat some serious weight.